Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Back Chat. Welcome to Yoga Berry, your Yoga for Scoliosis community. So, if this is your first time here, come and say hello. Let us know where you're from, and I can already see Laura. She's from Argentina, but she is saying that she's going to watch the replay afterwards, which is absolutely fine as well. We always like for you to be here live, of course, because then you can ask all your questions about yoga and scoliosis. Cannot always promise that I will have all the answers, but I will certainly try. And I've got an amazing guest for you today here as well. And before I bring her on, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has been watching over the last year, who's been sharing what I do. This community aspect of the work is so important, and we were just talking about this beforehand as well. And I really appreciate all of you kind of chipping in and letting us know if there's maybe something to improve or some things that you want to know about, and an expert to talk to or another approach to explore. So really enjoy reading all your comments as well. Right. So we've got Andrea is here from the southern Brazilian coast. Lovely. Okay, so you've got some support here. Good, guys. So I'm going to bring on Marcia in a moment. So we've got the lovely Marcia Monroe here. She is an Iyengar yoga teacher. She's also certified in body mind centering and Feldenkrais methods, which I personally find super interesting. And she has written this fabulous book. So let me know if you have got this on your bookshelf. Hopefully you do. Which is a really great reference and really nice way to dive deeper. I was kind of taking a look back at it. I have read it a few times now, but every time I learn something new. Actually, it's so full of information. Good. So let me bring her on. There she is. Hi, Marcia. How are you?
Hello, Christine. How are you? Are you in London?
Yes, exactly. So I am just outside of London.
Okay.
Corona is a bit crazy, as you know, at the
Oh.
moment here. So we're all trying to keep to ourselves at the moment. But yes, I'm originally from Germany, actually. So this year, unfortunately, no Christmas markets in Germany. Just being here and being with my family and with my children. What about you? Whereabouts are you right now?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And right now I'm in Rio de Janeiro. Right, I landed from New York a couple of days ago, and I'm grounding.
Lovely. And we can hear some kids in the background as well. I'm assuming you're with family right now.
Well, I live in a beautiful place, I must say. It's a condo, and there it's summertime. Everybody's out.
Oh,
And,
wonderful.
so from my terrace, I can see it's a club actually, part of
Oh,
our
okay.
condo. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, lovely. There's a few of you saying hello. Phoebe is saying hello. Pat is saying hi, Christine. Now Pat is one of my Shine members as well, and she is from Baltimore, from the US. So yeah, we've got a lot of people watching right now, which is nice. So I'm going to start really asking you, Marcia, about your own journey with scoliosis. So if you wouldn't mind kind of sharing a little bit about what obviously kind of brought you to yoga, but obviously also a little bit more maybe about your own story with scoliosis, and maybe some of your struggles with it.
um,
I'm just
I
assuming
w-
that there were struggles, because otherwise you wouldn't have found a need to write a book, right?
yes, yes. Um, I was at my aunt's house in a country house. I was in my pre-adolescent years, around 11, and I bent forward, and suddenly my aunt, who is very, I mean, she's a Brazilian woman, and she was like doing her household, and she told me something going on with your back. Your back's weird. So to make a long story short, the next thing I know, I was already in the doctor's office, and he asked me to take the imagery, the X-rays, to find out about the corpus angle and the history of the scoliosis. It was already there, you know, from the Adams test, from the bend forward test, which was that diagnosis, and then he needed any doctor to know the concretely objective information. And the angle was already pretty high. Anyway, but it was not yet surgery considered. And it was more for conservative treatment, which was they used back then in like prehistorical time. It was the Milwaukee brace, and not even a suggestion for physical therapy exercise. No, only the brace. So I had this brace done for me, but it was like a foreigner something in my body. I felt totally uncomfortable with it. I didn't have a good relationship with my brace. So I would go to my school, and all my friends would wear my brace, but not me. And then I would go home, put the brace back, and that was for a long time.
Right.
Anyway, so the Cobb angle progressed, and I was suggested for surgery there. I never did the surgery, and that was my path with scoliosis. Through movement, to finding out, to educating myself, but using the body as the channel, using myself as the channel to learn about where does it come from, how can I help myself. So it's like living a full life. There is never a restriction, like I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And I did have the brace. I negotiate. I use the brace, but then I discontinued and did my own research. And up is current research. It's never end. Every day is different. It's our body is different. Our cells are different.
Yes. So was it your decision, or was it your parents' decision not to do the surgery?
It was my decision, and my parents are very open-minded. My mother comes from a movement background, which was very helpful for me, because it was movement. The healing, the medicine was movement. She took me right away to this German lady in Rio that she had a very, very severe scoliosis. She did the surgery. The surgery was not successful. She had to remove the rod. She was in agony, but she was a dancer herself, and she brought this method from France. I think it was from Thérèse Bertherat. It's one of these pioneers, somatic pioneers, and she used these little balls. And I had no clue what she was doing. I said, she's not doing anything. I was complaining so much about my mother. But my mother was already that cutting edge. She would take me to different roads to find out how would I work with this scoliosis. It was very hard for my parents. It was very hard for my parents because they felt guilty. Like, what did you do wrong? It was your fault. No, you're my fault. It was like, and for me, it was like just as if that is almost part of my karma. It was okay. I'm gonna live with it and do my best. There's a denial too. Being an adolescent, there was this denial, like, no, I don't have this. Somebody else, I don't have it. I'm perfect. But because adolescent, we are all fresh and beautiful, and the muscles are there to support, but that unfolded me to a very rich life, I must say. I like to be here talking to you with Christine, and to be with all of you. It's part of the journey.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So, so I hear from that it didn't, as certainly as an adolescent, it didn't cause you any problems. But it was in the surgical range from a Cobb angle point of view. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I never did the surgery. Unfortunately, the brace was not well done for me. I think
Okay.
it was, and I discontinued out of intelligence. I could not breathe with the pad, with the just different vectors. They were compressing my lung, and I think it was it was like a bad intelligence saying, this is not for me. Whoever made that, it was not an expert,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So you abandoned.
Yeah, I abandoned. Yeah.
You abandoned the brace, and then obviously, amazing to have your parents on your side, obviously, as well, to let you, explore some other methods or some other practices as well, isn't it? Because I think as parents, and I've got children, touch wood, so far no scoliosis, but I think parents are in a very difficult position when they have a surgeon, telling them, this is what you must do. I think it takes a lot of courage to say, well, I'm going to explore some other things as well, right? And not just
it's the Brazilian culture is a little light. It's light, and there's
okay.
always this thing. Oh, swimming, and I was very very strong about it. The surgery was out of, when I heard about this surgery and the procedures and how long I would have to be encased. That was shocking for me. I said, what? No, I can't.
No, thank you, he said.
Yes. I'm not against surgery. I think it was not for me.
It wasn't for you.
Clear. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we want to be clear about this, that sometimes it's absolutely necessary, right? And sometimes there is no other way.
And it is a personal decision.
Yes, and it is absolutely a personal decision. And I always encourage people to get more than one opinion, even more than two opinions, get all the information and explore all the options. And surgery is always there for you, right? So you can try other things, but the surgery will still be there as an option as well. So you started kind of more on the movement path. Is that what then eventually led you to yoga as well?
Yeah, I have a history of dance. My mother studied dance, and she had us going to ballet classes, So I was already studying dance, and I went to New York to study dance at the Joffrey Ballet School. And before that, there was already my mother had a best friend who did yoga, and she used to come to our house. So yoga was not a foreigner. It was familiar with us, but not the experiential. Her best friend she was a yoga practitioner. And then I went to New York, and at the Joffrey Ballet School, there is with ballet, there is this requirement for symmetry. And you can imagine, in an asymmetric body, it's like putting a shoe that's too small for your feet, And I was trying to find that formal, to use that artificial form that was not my essence. It was not who I was. And that was, again, the first door of embodiment. in a way, because in New York I found other means to work, different therapies, somatic therapies, and therapy. And I did go to a class at Integral Yoga there, and that was wonderful. It was, I felt the breath, the possibility. There was breathing. I can breathe in this relaxation that the dance world never gave to me. It's the opposite. It's always this demanding of being like my friend, or you have to be this, I have to be in point, I have to, it's like the freedom, the beginning stage of feeling my body, myself. Yeah. With
So
all
I'm
the
sorry,
symmetries. Yeah.
I'm just acknowledging here the chat. So there's a few of you saying hello. We've got Manasa from Texas, USA, and then Phoebe is saying she's got a question about scoliosis. Yeah, so feel free, Phoebe, to put it into the chat box, and I will put it to Marcia as well. Good. So you kind of, you started on your path to yoga. Embodiment, you talked about obviously starting this, it gave you a new perspective is what I'm hearing, and feeling your body in a different way. Tell us a little bit about, because I understand you did train, or you studied with Mr. Iyengar directly as well.
Yeah.
What was his, did you say, well, I assume you might have seen that you've got scoliosis, but did you kind of specifically talk to him about it, or how did it work?
No, when I got to Pune, it was all intuitively too. It was not through anybody. They accepted. I wrote, said I had Mr. Iyengar's book, and it was like my Bible. And I even once mentioned to my husband, saying, I want to study with this teacher one day. It was like unfolding how I got there. Even in a way, it was very magical, how I ended up in Pune. And he had a curiosity in me. I was very shy, actually. I would be in the other, sometimes I would hide. And there was a time that the assistant came in the closet, or the props closet, to pick me up. Because there was a fear of not understanding his words, the Indian English, and not, I just fear. It's like, I don't know if I want to, I can only say that he saw me, to me that was my guru, because it was from him, and he was so compassionate with me, and always encouraging. Always encouraging.
Yeah.
Not being so soft, sometimes very hard, but there is always that thing, come on, you can do it, don't be silly, because sometimes I would like, oh, this side and this and that, be like the victim, and there was always encouragement from him, like practice 20 times. It was always through the practice, and through tapas, to the discipline.
Yeah. So sometimes pushing you maybe to do something that you thought you wouldn't be able to do.
Always. He never treated me like somebody that needs special. Never. It was, I would do whatever the class was doing, and he would correct. Or basically, most of the help was during personal practice, which each person has their own. It's like a laboratory. I don't know if you heard about this. In Pune, we have this personal practice every day. We practice with the Iyengar family and all the teachers from the institute to the assistants. Beautiful. But it's your practice, it's our practice. So I would go to play, to take all the props out, the stools, this and that, and experiment different ways to work with my scoliosis. That when he would, the assistant say, Guruji is calling you. And that itself would be sometime a class. People would gather around and he would show the different, suggest, different corrections back then, in yoga. Yeah.
So
very,
this
very
kind of
interesting.
Yeah. So this experience made you then made you write this book, and I mean anyone who knows this one knows that there are a lot of props featured in this book, right? So I think we have I just reviewed that exactly in the beginning, I think. So here's the photo of the prop we are using. Do you want to talk a little bit about this, about the kind of the purpose of the props, and why you find them so helpful?
With scoliosis, it's my personal experience and from teaching too, there is a lack of proprioception, or to make things simple, just how to feel ourselves, where's center, where's my weight, where I'm putting more weight. It's like this vagueness. And then this assumption of center that's not correct and not true is like illusion. It's the wrong perception. So the props to me, they were like best friends. They would tell me, first of all, I would be able to be in the posture, find a different way of organization, of alignment. Therefore, the breath would be coming into the foreground, and I would feel a sense of life. The first signal was feeling life, feeling like an expansion from inside it. And I think that's provided by yoga and by the different asanas and the combination. So the props were like in these hands, like the belt, so I could feel my rib, that if the rib is protruding out, it's going to that side, how that belt can be a little bit tighter, so I can know at least the proper direction, where that I need to go to midline, to the center. Or another guide, the same belt could guide my breath. What is the breath doing in the right ribs, in the left ribs? Where do I have to expand more? How can I feel it from the touch of the belt? Let my breath to touch the belt. So there's always these inner conversations.
Yeah,
that's very rich in the educational process, self process. And you can, everything, the ropes for traction, to find space. It's like a blessing. It's a blessing. I do the Mukha Svanasana, or the dog. I use traction. I use the ropes.
Yeah.
Every day I do that. It's like it changed the energy, changed the breath, changed my way of seeing the day, actually.
Yeah. So can I ask you how your scoliosis is now, right now? Did it kind of progress over the years? How has it changed?
My scoliosis, it didn't get better. I have 3 curves, which is something that new for me. I always, back when I was a teenager, it was more a double curve.
Yeah.
Right thoracic and left lumbar. But it's not the case. There's a kind of developed in the upper cervicothoracic junction.
Yeah.
And that means that the way to see is that they had. So I began to look at a picture that was being a partial habit, and then it was proved by the X-ray that there is a third additional curve, and these are all compensatory curves because of the major curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in your it's kind of stayed more or less the same, but you're just kind of, the body has
It's
adjusted.
compensated because
Yeah.
of my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, I live a life for yoga, for my practice, for teaching, studying, because I love it. It's my passion. Scoliosis is a passion of mine. Asymmetry, like trying to figure out. I learn from nature too that we are asymmetric. There is an asymmetric print too in us, but how can we organize that more from the muscular skeletal system, how to bring that alignment to the different asanas, to the different sequence, how to invite the breath in areas where there's compression. So in that sense, it gave me a compensation. It became more organized in my scoliosis, in a way. I feel inside, and when the X-ray is seen, people say, "My God, you were like that! Wow, that's really poor girl," you know. Yeah. So
Yes,
the concrete aspect, the objective aspect of the X-ray is important, but I'm more interested in the subjective, how I feel, how we feel inside. That is given by yoga. You cannot measure that in the X-ray. It's more like a lifestyle, how a sense of inner expansion, breath, and getting taller, finding the length. Important.
Because people sometimes get caught up on the X-ray, right, and wanting to correct or to improve their curvature. And certainly, what I always say is that, you know, what is more important, right? That your X-ray looks better, or that you feel amazing in your body right now, and in 10 years, and in 30, 40 years, or however old you want to be. You know, I think that's much more important than doing something about your X-ray. Good. I just have just a comment more than a question from Daniel, is saying, from Pantin near Paris, I have a big accident in D12. Not quite sure what that is, because my yoga Iyengar teacher did not take account the scoliosis with torsion, and also had a couple of operations. And in France, he's saying in France, nobody had any information about scoliosis and yoga. How do you find this? Do you see if this is kind of improving this situation? Do you find that yoga teachers nowadays know a little bit more, or do you still feel that there is a little bit of a lack of understanding maybe of scoliosis?
I think that because everything's so open now, the information, we go to Google, we go to workshops, now online is everywhere, like a shopping mall. In the Indians say that, yoga shopping mall. And people are getting more educated, you know, and they are studying with senior teachers who they have a very solid, you know, the Iyengar method system is very strict. And I can only say that the teachers that I'm exposed, that I know, my colleagues, they are totally qualified. Even if it's not for scoliosis, but for alignment. You know, and some of them, they go further. They understand the biomechanics of scoliosis, but nobody is obliged to do that. This, it's like, you know, it's to ask too much from a general teacher. You know, so I think it's a responsibility of the student to know this. We need to own this. I cannot blame if I got a catch in my back, and because they're teaching the classes, and it's a trick fine line.
Yes, it is a fine line. Yeah.
But beyond that, outside of that, I think their teachers have no clue that, and they try to pretend they know. Instead of having the being humble, saying, "Oh, I don't know. Let me suggest you to somebody else."
Yeah.
Because it is very complex, as we know. Scoliosis is very complex. Like in my case, there is not only one curve; there are three curves. So they say, "Don't rotate. Don't rotate for what? What side do I don't rotate if I have three curves?" So I don't rotate.
Yeah, you just walk around like a stick.
Yes. Yeah. And it is always a contradiction, because if it is a three-dimensional pattern, how you have to be only in one dimension? Anyway. But, I hope I'm not trying to answer. I mean, I don't know if I can answer your question, but it is a fine line taking yoga classes for when you have a condition like scoliosis, depending on the degree, depending on your age. Because,
absolutely.
And
I can see it from a student perspective, and I think I was the same, kind of expecting my yoga teachers to tell me what to do and what not to do and how to do and all of this, until one yoga teacher said to me, she said, "You've got to take responsibility for yourself." And I was like, what? But in hindsight, this was the best advice I've ever gotten, really, is to, as you say, to own it and really take responsibility.
I think it's not like throwing. You have to take responsibility. It's like getting educated. The more educated we are, and I'm speaking for myself, the more, when I start really learning about scoliosis, the pattern mechanism of the vertebrae, these different theories, even about that scoliosis is a pattern of extension. It become more educated. With education, then we can take responsibility. Say, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do that." And I want to do it, even though I know that's not the best, but I want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like being on, being in charge of your
Yes, be in charge, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you about your own personal yoga practice, and those of you who have been following me and my journey, that I have been quite interested in the scientific approaches and the Schroth method and all of that, and studying all of this. For your own practice, are there things that you kind of have taken out, or are there things that you don't do because of scoliosis?
No, but I don't want to be like, do that, please. I spend my whole. I'm trying to tell you that's the road to go. Again, it's a very individual choice. We need to respect ourselves and our conditions, and that it's complex. I spent my whole life involved in movement from child. So there is some kind of receptiveness that I lived my life with that. So there was never restricted, like I cannot do that. I would only stop doing something that was like hurtful, like I would say, or avoid, like saying, "Oh, I don't want to, I don't know, I just want to jump because right now, especially my age, because something that's not so secure right now, in the joints, I need more stability." So it's like just taking a little bit precautions, but I being my own guinea pig. I'm not telling you to do that. It's like, oh, it is true that certain position might increase the scoliosis. So maybe, decreasing the angle might be better, to more incline the angle for correction, or for, when I say correction, I don't know if, I don't think, after the bone is changing, it's challenging, but it's more like for the alignment, the neuromuscular alignment, the emotional alignment. That in the integration that I'm interested in a way. So, but being open to explore, being open to, I don't have any restriction. No.
Lovely. And yes, and your book is obviously called The Journey to Health and Healing. It's not called A Journey to Correct My Scoliosis, right?
Yeah. And I must say that with the process of aging, when I say I don't have any restriction, there's always that I use props, I do according to my rhythm, to how I feel that moment. After you're a practitioner for many years, we have the maturity in a way to do that. A beginner student's different. They need to be told what to do. They have to have a system, a discipline. So it's like a map. But I'm always exploring, and I think it's important to explore for the neuroplasticity of the brain. Is like keep learning different ways. So not only the ones that we are comfortable with. Like, oh, I like this portion, so I stay here. Like a furniture, like keep expanding, keep going, keep elongating. Inside of one part, it's a walls for elongation to create more space, more alignment, the distribution of weight.
Yeah, and keep experimenting, as you say, and keep learning new things, right? And new ways rather than always doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm talking about new things when it's like habits. Don't be fixated in habits. Even in functional life, in our own life. If I open the door always with the right hand, I open with the left. It's like observing this integration between right and left towards the center.
Yeah.
And that is from yoga. Yoga is union.
Yeah.
So it's integrating the different parts, put them together. And that's how I learned from my guru. It was never like everything. It was always the integration. Oh, that side needs to teach that side, or it's like always these two sides acting together.
So how would you say in your words, kind of what is the difference between yoga and physiotherapy or movement therapy or anything like that?
Well, first of all, yoga is a tradition. Yoga is a tradition, and it's one of the philosophical schools, the 5, I think, philosophical schools of India. And I cannot compare this ancient tradition, this millennial tradition, with new methodology techniques, Western techniques. It's as asana is just one piece of yoga. There are like 8 limbs. It's the third one. First comes the ethics, the universal ethics, the individual disciplines, asana. Then you keep proceed like going up to the ladder. And it's if you define yoga, it's integration. If you define yoga, what's yoga? Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, the quiet of the fluctuation of our minds. It's already how everything is unfolding. You cannot compare to anything else. It's not an exercise. It's a way of life. Yoga is to be applied in life. When the misalignment is not only in the scoliosis, in the bone, in the spine, it's in the brain, it's in our emotions now. So it's like going back, addressing all these layers to become free, to live a full life. It's different than a physical therapy, I would say. because there is time restriction, like 40 minutes session, or let's do just one side, or depending when needs to be intervention, very rigid intervention for teenagers. It's important to be during the growth years. But it's not. Yoga is not that. Yoga is not that. It's beyond that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Really, really.
And the pranayama, the different methods, the different ways of breath, that we get intimacy with our breathing before even to exercise the breath. Because in the Iyengar system, it's not taught pranayama. First, we learn the asanas. And now I understand why. Because first, it's like preparing the soil for then the river to come and to be irrigating the different areas. And the breath is like finding out where do I breathe first, the awareness, where I don't, before doing these techniques, when the mind, there's no maturity and no preparation for that.
Yeah.
Because then we can understand the breath for scoliosis. Where can I have to breathe more? In the front, the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's profound. It's a profound science. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So obviously, so you, again, I was saying before that there's lots of different approaches that you bring together. Now, in your book, you've got an introduction by Dr. Fishman. So I obviously have to ask you what you think of his approach, because he does call it yoga as well. And I understand, I don't know if he studied with Mr. Iyengar, but I think he's met him at least. But he's kind of reducing it to a few yoga poses to say that this is a good idea to practice. If you had this type of scoliosis, you do it on this side, and so on. What would you say to that? What's your opinion?
I don't have an opinion in a way. I think Lauren, he studied in Pune. I don't know. I think he been to the institute. I'm not sure. I thought he had been there. I respect anybody who's doing research, who's at least trying to find new ways to help with scoliosis.
Yeah.
And for that, to me, I'm already, instead of being critical, like, what? We all trying to, and of course, you're not going to try things that are not being helpful. That's stupid to keep repeating protocols that it only brings stagnation. What I'm against, when I say against, I have a question. When you say we're going to fix, we're going to correct, but that I say, wait a minute, I don't know about that. So show me the statistics.
Yeah.
Then, because, but the idea about, constraining to certain fixed position like Bashistasana makes sense, but it's not only that. In my question to this methodology is like, what about when you have like 3 curves again?
Yes.
As Mr. Iyengar used to say, he used to say that I had multiple curves.
Yeah.
His language is more like, yoga language. He said, you have multiple curves. And it was even before I knew about this 3rd curve. He saw everything. He had this kind of eye that it was like eagle, sharp eyes.
Yeah.
And, so, it's very restricted, but within the restriction of 3 portions for scoliosis, it's like somebody is trying to study and to find out more. I prefer to see like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I don't know the research. I never tried it myself because I believe the whole repertoire of movement of asanas.
Yeah.
We have to extend. We have to extend to the side, extend to the other side. the rotation, but then you manage how to do for yourself in order not to make things worse and more compression.
Yeah.
To reduce the
Yes.
compression. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I was very interested in his research, and I was kind of looking more into, or trying to learn more about how it works and all of this. And then I think I made a couple of videos, and then people kept asking me, so what is your scoliosis still there? Has it worked for me? And I was like, I kind of abandoned it because it wasn't fun for me. It wasn't, I don't want to just do a side plank on one side. I love yoga and I love all of it, right? So I as you say, it's an integration. So it all works together. So it's very, I don't want to reduce it to this one thing. That's my my thinking about this. But I think it's lovely what you say about that we're all kind of learning and we're all exploring. I don't think there is one person who's got all the answers, otherwise it would be there would be nothing to talk about, right?
Yeah, even my experience with Guruji, with BKS Iyengar, he had a very exploratory mind. There was a time he used to, well, it's right there, but I don't want to get up. There was this round thing we used to call the donuts. He had face. There is the face of the wood and the wedges, and it was always like, hey, come here, let do this, do Adho Mukha Svanasana, do Upa Mukha, put your right hand in the support, let's increase the height. It was always very and see what works, because again, when you have multiple curves, like in my case or in many of us case, it's not just one thing, just not one doing plank on one side, because then the other curve they're going to get bigger. That's the thing. It's all this compensation, they get their own way out of control. They start moving out of line. So it's exploratory in a way, but with knowledge. I think that's the difference between a teacher and laborers. It's not like using intuition. There's a knowledge of how the muscles are moving, the alignment of the joints, the central alignment of the joints. It again is like preparing the soil, preparing to their alignment.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't want to keep you too long, but I really, really appreciate you taking the time so close to Christmas as well to talk to me. And yes, it's been really, really lovely. And I think there's a lot that people can take away from that. I certainly do. So yeah, I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations in your program, in your chat. I think it's very informative that you're doing that, and a way to connect with the community, and we keep learning from each other. I think that's very important.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And how lucky we are nowadays that we can connect with people from all over the world, right? And so easily in this form, and exchange what we've learned, and help us all, hopefully. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening as well. Sorry, I didn't get to all the questions. But we've got a couple of weeks of break of back chat, but then we're back in the new year as well. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Marcia. Stay on for a moment, Marcia, while I say goodbye, and I'm just gonna disconnect to everyone, and we'll see you in the new year.